Okay.
So where did you want to start at?
Are we started? Okay, this is Jim Kepner at the Gay Archives in Los Angeles on Saturday, January 9th, 1988. And we are interviewing Marsha, a veteran of Stonewall.
Marsha Johnson.
Marsha Johnson, okay. And maybe there's a whole new generation of gays now who don't even know what Stonewall was. What was?
Huh?
What was Stonewall?
Stonewall was a gay bar for gay men with gay go-go boys. And it was a...
Oh, go-go boys. I hadn't heard that.
Yes, they had go-go boys. It was the first gay bar in New York to have go-go.
Lesbians there too?
They had a few lesbians that entered every now and then, but it... And they played all these records on a jukebox. And in 1969, it was the last gay bar to be raided by Mayor Beam in the village. I mean, they threatened to close this. They had another gay bar called, I think it was Number One. And it was right on Sheridan Square where they have the Charles Ludlam Playhouse now. And in 1969, this mayor threatened to close every gay bar in New York. And at the Stonewall, I was just one of the patrons that used to visit the place. And after a while, they had this great big raid, like once. And they had everybody line up against the wall and show all of our identification. Then a second time, they came in and had us line up against the wall. And then, like, it was all in the summer of 1969. And then the next thing I knew, the place was closed down. But everybody says it was in June that they had the Stonewall riots. As I remember, it was August, because I think I was giving a birthday party then. And I came downtown and they were rioting. But it was like August 28th or something. Because everybody has a hard time remembering what day the Stonewall riots was. All you have to do is go to the Daily News and get the newspaper. It's all there.
Now, were you there at the time of the riot?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, people just started throwing over cars, and they were throwing bottles, and they were throwing bricks. And they were throwing all kinds of things. And the cops was...
How did that start?
Well, it all started with a demonstration. A lot of people started demonstrating outside of the bar and everything. And then the cops just tried to chase them off the street and away from the bar, and they refused to move. And so the cops started hitting them with sticks, and they just started hauling bottles and everything.
Do you remember anybody else who was involved at the time?
At the Stonewall riots? Oh, there was so many people, like Jim Kepner was there. I mean, like there was really an awful lot of people. I really couldn't remember too much about how many people were there, you know, as far as their names go and everything, because it's so far back.
How did you feel at the time?
Oh, I felt real good about them rioting. Because when I first came to New York, it was in 1963, when I finished Thomas Edison High School in Elizabeth. And they only had one gay bar called the Blue Bunny uptown on 45th Street. And like you had to, you know, come there after dark, and you couldn't do any drag or anything. You had to look very straight to get in. I mean, and then they started opening a lot of other gay bars like the Stonewall and stuff downtown. I mean, 1969 there wasn't too many places we could go.
Was a Stonewall a beer bar or a liquor bar?
It was a liquor bar.
Oh, it was. I thought it was just a beer bar.
No, it was a liquor bar, and it was the first place they had go-go dances in New York, as far as the bar goes.
How big was it?
It was 2 rooms. They had a front bar and a back bar. And in the back bar you could dance, and on the front bar they had go-go boys. It was real nice.
What sort of crowd did it get? How would you describe the...
It got a whole great big crowd of middle-class people coming there.
Many underage?
No, nobody was underage at the Stonewall.
Did they check
Everybody's ID was checked.
Did they
at the
check
front door.
ID carefully?
Yes, very carefully.
I had heard that they didn't.
They had two very wonderful gentlemen that worked at the Stonewall that always checked out everything.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear talk that it was a mafia bar?
Oh, hear talk?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I heard talk, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think that was mostly talk, but I don't know either. How long had it been in operation, do you know?
The Stonewall?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I came downtown in I think it was 1968 or 1967, because I used to hang out uptown. It was open already. And I started just hanging out there. I hung out there for about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the only place that you can go and feel free to dance, you know, and nobody would bother you at that time except for the Blue Bunny.
Were you going in drag any, or?
Yes, I had just started drags then. I wasn't doing drags until the late 60s.
On the street or in the, just in the bars?
I mean, on a regular basis, you know. I used to go in and out of drags on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to work waiting on tables and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do that much drag. When I came to Stonewall, I started doing a lot of drag. Like when I first went to the Stonewall, I was in drag. As you can see, I'm not doing much drag anymore.
I've never seen you in drag.
I'm not doing much drag anymore, but I'm thinking about going back in because I'm just got on the cover Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I'm thinking about, you know, doing some more drag because I'm going to beauty school now.
Around the corner here.
Yeah, I'm going to Newberry, starting February 1st. But as far as the Stonewall goes, like at Alternate U, I used to help bring food to the people at Alternate U, and I became the vice president of Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, and I was in Out of the Closet, the Gay Liberation, you know, the book.
What was Sylvia like?
Oh, my dear Sylvia. Sylvia was a real revolutionary person as far as, you know, fighting for rights of poor and street people and stuff like that. But she had a lot of problems of her own in between. I mean, that's why I was the one that advised her she should give up Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries banner and take a rest for a while and decide whether she wanted to pick it up again. Because it was very, very hard for her. I mean, like, everybody was against the transvestites just about in the movement. They just couldn't get along with a male that looked like a woman. And Sylvia was that type of person. She would always come out in dresses and stuff to meetings and everything. And they would always think she was disruptive and everything, but the men and the women could do all the talking they wanted to do.
Did you meet Angela Douglas Key, or Angela Key or Angela Douglas?
No.
She was out here and then later in Miami, but she was in New York for a while during that time. But she was a very wild militant too. Were you involved in any of the militant actions? Say the march past the women's jail or the...
oh, yes, I was in that.
The one where
I was in the march on Bellevue Hospital. They got a picture of me in front of Bellevue. I mean, it had about 5 breakdowns in my lifetime. I had one at Randy's.
When
you
did
know
you first...
Randy used to be a writer.
Yeah. When did you first meet Randy?
When I had my first breakdown in 1970, 71, and I was in Manhattan State Hospital. He came over and tried to get me out with Jim Miles and Marty Mansford and all those people. And they all came. It was the funniest way they did it. They all came in, and they all said they came to visit me. And then they told me to run. And I ran across the lawn and everything, and I got out of the hospital. And I hopped the fence, because they said they weren't going to release me. I mean, I have all these breakdowns from overwork and stuff, and I was working very hard in the movement, 1969. I used to work at the Gay Center and I used to work with the poor people who didn't have a home.
Where was the gay center then?
The gay center was on 3rd Street and 6th Avenue. It was called the GLF Community Center up over Folk City.
How long did GLF last?
About 3 years.
I thought it had died it continued after GAA started?
Well, no, GLF lasted 3 years, and GAA kept on going. GAA went into the middle 70s.
Yeah.
They still got a lot of people around from both movements.
Yeah. When Diego, the guy who jumped out the window and impaled himself, jumped out the window of the police station after a bar raid and impaled himself. There was a big demonstration then. That was just a short time after Stonewall.
Oh.
You don't recall that?
No, I didn't go to that
I
demonstration.
can't remember his name now. How about any of the sit-ins?
Oh, we had a great big sit-in once that, it was like a building up on the west side. But I forgot what, it was like on 57th Street. We had a great big sit-in at alternate U in no student center for a long time. We sat there for about a week. I mean, there was a lot of sit-ins, you know, in those days. And
What
I
did
mean,
you
that's
do in those? Did you join the sit-ins?
I used to like bring food, and I used to sit in for a while. I mean, I couldn't sit there all day long and everything like that and see people starving and everything waiting for food. I mean, and then plus I was in all this, I was in the Angela Davis demonstrations. I mean, and
What was, hadn't heard of that one.
But when Angela Davis was arrested and arrested by the federal government in New York,
Oh yeah.
all the gay people went down and demonstrated in front of the Women's House of Detention to get Angela Davis out of jail, and we were all in that demonstration for a few days. I mean, in the gay movement, they think we only get into certain gay demonstrations, but it's not true. We get in all kinds of political demonstrations,
Did
too.
you ever go to any of the ones in Washington?
I was just in the one in Washington.
You
In
were in
fact, I was the one that arranged for free tickets. Free tickets for all poor people that couldn't go to the demonstration because they had no money. Because I walked into the gay center on 13th Street and 7th Avenue, and a lot of gay people remember me.
Yeah, I helped on the committee here to see who could go that couldn't afford the transportation.
Well, see, they remember me because I've been in New York for 23 years, but I've been in the movement for ever since 1969. I'm in every gay march, and I only skipped 2. And I went back because Ed Murphy, who was the Grand Marshal for the Stonewall riot contingent, he wanted me to ride in the car just in 1970. I think it was 1976. It was just 2 years ago. And I was here in California walking, you know, alongside the parade. And he said, I got to get back there and be in the front of the parade. So I got on a plane in May, and I got back there, and I was in that car. But it was an honor in some ways, you know. But then it's not an honor in some ways because there's still so many people walking in a parade.
I feel better walking. I've been in a car a couple times and I feel icky about it.
Well, with this bullet in my back, it's kind of hard. But I think I feel better walking too. I mean, because I've walked so long, you know. That's how come I didn't ask to be in the car a couple more years. I said, let everybody else be in the car. And I walked in a parade this year. And I walked in Washington.
What do you think about Washington this time?
It was a vision.
Wasn't it?
I thought it was a vision of things to come. Because you know, if they don't help those people with AIDS, there's going to be another demonstration like that in Washington. I mean, they got billions of dollars to throw out on rocket ships, billions of dollars to throw out on wars. I mean, why can't they spend billions of dollars to help people with AIDS? I mean, he didn't give the people with AIDS any money at all.
Yeah, even the money that's been voted hasn't been spent by the federal government.
No, they haven't spent a dime. I mean, like me as an individual, when I can, I throw a penny, a dime, a quarter, anything I can in the AIDS cans.
How do you feel about the AIDS thing? Do you feel that's changed?
Well, I know a lot of people that died from AIDS. I've had a friend, 24 years old, I spent 4 months in California with in a hospital that had AIDS and finally died. And he was on an oxygen tank and he couldn't even breathe. And I came back to New York and went to see a friend that had AIDS in the hospital for about a week, and then I winded up having a breakdown. And he comes to see me in the hospital, and about a week later, after he comes to see me, he goes back to the hospital. He died. That was John Dewey. I mean, I know, I have a friend, you know, I have a lot of friends that have died of AIDS.
A couple of the guys who work with Randy are down with AIDS, aren't they?
No, they don't have AIDS. They have like ARC. It's a difference.
Yeah.
And people see they don't understand about AIDS. When I was in a hospital, working with this AIDS patient, I like to go to work for more AIDS patients, really. Because I'm really not afraid of the AIDS. It's a virus when you can't fight disease. I mean, if I could do more for these people, I would. Like at Christmas time, I took puzzles and stuff over to the center. And they had already sent everything out to the people with AIDS and stuff, you know, for Christmas. So I just left them there, and I think some poor people didn't have nothing picked them up. But if I had more money, I like to, you know, help more with donations or anything just to find a cure for AIDS, because it's really terrible the way some people just try to treat people with a sickness that sometimes just can't be helped, because sometimes the people with AIDS aren't considerate, and they go out with other people after they find out they have the virus. And it somewhat works on the brain.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the brain shrivels. How long were you in Washington this time? Just for the march, or?
I just went there for the march, and I was there for one day.
Did you see the quilt?
Yes. I seen the quilt as soon as we got off the bus in Washington. We had limited time. We were supposed to be out of Washington at 6 o'clock in the evening.
How did you feel about the quilt?
I thought the quilt was a good idea. And I thought it was a beautiful quilt. And I thought the people that worked on that quilt did a fabulous job.
It's going to be here in a couple months now.
And it's an idea, you know, that shows that we remember those people that have died of AIDS, and that we will never forget, you know, what happened to them, and hope it doesn't happen to us. Because those people that died of AIDS a lot of them didn't know what they were, you know, doing. A lot of innocent people died of AIDS.
I hate to say this sort of thing, but I hope we can make a panel for Ronald Reagan Sr.
A panel? Oh, to discuss
the president.
To discuss
I would love to see the president's name on that quilt.
Well, I don't think that'll ever happen with all
That's
the
not
money.
a good thing to say, but that's...
With all the money he's got, I don't think he'll ever wind up on that quilt. I mean, on the tape of Washington, they showed where people went to the Arlington Cemetery to see the unknown soldier. I mean, there's a lot of unknown gays that have marched in the war, just like they said. And I mean, I think those people, it's wonderful they remember those people. That's how come every year, no matter where I am, I try and get back to New York to go to the candlelight vigil for AIDS patients in New York. And like we had about 500 people walking in that vigil this year.
I haven't been to one of those yet.
Well, it's
They
just an idea, you know, all these ideas to remember all those people that didn't die of natural causes. They died of a disease that we just have no cure for, and there's just no way we can really help them in any kind of way except go visit them in hospitals and give donations to try and find a cure, and, you know, give them whatever kind of comfort we can give them instead of just turning our backs and saying he's sick, well, goodbye to him, you know.
just one. Hi.
I've been here is everything okay? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
I've been trying to find a parking spot for 15 minutes.
Ben and Chuck,
Yeah, hi. I didn't mean to interrupt your session.
okay.
That's okay. He wanted me to come and set this thing up for him. He didn't know how to.
Oh.
So evidently you've got everything working, and I'll get out of your
did you
hair.
bring any tapes?
I'm illegally parked anyway.
Okay. You were going to bring me some tapes a long time ago.
Well,
And a couple of people have been calling about some of those.
I'll bring some to you in the next week. How's that? I
Okay.
don't want to interrupt your
Yeah.
thing. But that's why I'm here.
Okay, Chuck, thanks.
I didn't forget about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And my real name is Malcolm Michaels. I put it in Out of Closet to Gay Liberation. The book? But there ain't too many people that read that book anymore because it's out of print.
Uh-huh.
Randy has a copy, but he had a hard time getting a copy.
Is that the Carla J. Allen Young one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they came to my house on 2nd Street when I was living with the street people, and I was gagging. I was sleeping. He woke me up, and they said, "Would you like to be in a book?" And I thought they were joking.
Uh-huh.
Because I've been in a lot of things recently.
I did an interview with her. I just wrote a letter off to him. He's sending us some stuff.
Oh, you should tell him I said hello. I haven't seen him in
We'll do.
years.
He's living in backwoods, Massachusetts.
Oh, I know he's somewhere in the woods. He told me he was leaving for the woods.
Well, he got unhappy after he did the book on gays in Cuba, and a lot of his politically correct friends thought he was attacking Cuba.
Ah.
And Cuba's a good communist country and should not be attacked, even if they're imprisoning gays.
Uh-huh.
Did you know any of the gay Cubans, by the way?
No.
What do you feel about some of the changes in the gay community?
Well, I love the new change they got. Did you hear about the new change they have in the gay movement in New York?
What's that?
They got this new group called
ACT UP?
ACT UP.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really fabulous. I went to the last ACT UP, one of the latest.
There's an ACT UP group here. It's a bit different, but they've started one here too.
Well, I went to ACT UP from the Gay Center, and we went over to the UN building, and we sat and demonstrated for 5 hours for fundraising for AIDS patients. And it was really nice because we all got together and we just walked and carried our banners and chanted. And after about 5 hours, we just broke up with a peaceful demonstration. But my dear, without demonstrating and stuff like that, people don't know that we care about these people. I mean, my dear, I really got great concern for these people, you know, when I watched the way they treated my friend in the hospital. But I was going to see AIDS patients before that because I went to see him in New York.
Well, my friend just got the AIDS treatment. He was in the hospital for a heart attack, and because his doctor handled a lot of AIDS patients, they put the red sign on his door, and everybody who came in and out had put on gloves, apron, and masks, and then threw them away as they went out, and his wastebasket was piling up fast as hell.
Well, the masks and stuff, when I was in California, I had to wear a mask, smock, shoes, everything, you know, an apron. I had to really dress to go into that room because the masks and stuff is supposed to be for their protection, just in case, you know, breathing germs and stuff. Just in case you're carrying germs on your hands or anything. Because these people are very delicate, you know. I mean, you know, I had to clean up the whole house just in case my friend came home.
Yeah.
It had to be spotless. We had to get rid of dogs, everything.
You know, a couple who have died of cat fever. It's not serious ordinarily, but if you've got AIDS, any little thing can be serious.
Yes.
When did you come out? How early? Or were you
In
ever
1963. I came out right after I finished high school. But I thought, see, I was a young kid raised in church. And my mother didn't tell me anything about gay life ever. She used to say the stork bought us, you know, and she used to tell me all kinds of little fairy tales. And then she started telling me there were gay people out there, you know. But she didn't tell me they had sex or anything. So when I was 17 years old, I was still very naive, and I was in the United States Navy. And I got an honorable discharge under honorable conditions registered in Washington. But I only made like 6 months in reserves before I was kicked out because some boy touched my ass, and I just punched him in the jaw. I was very, very, very late coming out in the homosexual life because I wanted education first.
Mm-hmm.
So after I finished Thomas Edison High School, I started to going out searching to see if there was really anything out there.
Did you have different feelings early on?
Early on, I didn't think about sex. I never had sex with a person until after I was 18. I was almost raped.
Did you ever get teased as a sissy or anything like that?
Yes, but I didn't pay any attention. I was almost raped when I was 16 years old by the boy next door.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I was never a very sexual person as a child like a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be bothered. I tell myself, I used to watch.
What were you interested in school?
Huh?
What were you interested in school?
I was interested in cooking and house cleaning and pretty much what I do nowadays. Mm-hmm. Cooking and house cleaning and managing a restaurant and learning how to, you know, do different things for survival just in case of emergency.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any romances in school?
Oh, no, I wouldn't go out with anyone. Anyone that was interested in me, I always used to chase them away. Mm-hmm. I couldn't be bothered. Mm-hmm. I said, this person doesn't really love me. They're just playing a game here.
Did your mother or your relatives ask you, well, when are you going to get married? Why aren't you going out with girls?
They used to always ask that.
How'd you handle it?
Well, the way I used to handle it, I just say I didn't have any time.
Mm-hmm.
I was too busy shining shoes or going to school or, you know, mm-hmm. or going to church on Sunday. My sister said, you're just a hypocrite going to church. But I used to meet interesting people. I used to meet all these different people. They used to take me to camps and everything. I mean, they used to take me on all kinds of trips. Because, see, I used to go to Protestant church, and the Protestant and the Baptists used to hang out together on Sundays sometimes. Mm-hmm. And they used to take me all kinds of different places. But no sex was discussed there or anything. It was just like the Lord all the way, you know.
How far is Elizabeth from New York?
About 7 miles, 5 miles.
Did you get over to New York much when you were a kid?
No, I didn't go when I was a kid. I went when I was like 17 years old. Mm-hmm. That's what made me know New York was much different from New Jersey, because in Elizabeth I hung around with all these straight kids on Broad Street when I was 16 and 15.
How far is Elizabeth from Hoboken? Is it in that same part of New Jersey?
About 6 miles.
Uh-huh.
It's not far to Elizabeth, from about 10 miles maybe, because in Jersey, see, going to New York, Elizabeth is right on the coastline.
Oh, uh-huh.
Hoboken's way over on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth is right next to New York. You just go right through Newark, and you're right up the turnpike, and you're in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
It took me an hour by bus each time I came over there.
Did you continue living in Elizabeth for a while when you were first going over to New York?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
With your family?
Yes, because I have just, I was.
Was there any friction with them about what you were doing or where you were going, or did you tell them?
My mother used to get very upset when I used to say I'm going to New York. But then I said, I'm paying my own bills nowadays, and I'm old enough to take care of myself, and I'm going anyway. And after a while, she got used to it.
Mm-hmm. Did she ever find out you were gay?
I told her I was gay. As soon as I turned gay, I just ran home and told her.
How'd she respond?
She said it's a phase, you'll get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Because see,
Have you yet?
she knew a lot of gay people when she was, when she used to go to these bars, she used to see all these drag queens and everything. And I told her, God gave you one of your own now. I was never ashamed of my homosexuality once I became gay in 1963. I used to always brag about it to my whole family.
Mm-hmm. Did you know anything about the Mattachine Society before Stonewall?
No.
As they were pretty much the only gay organization in New York for a long time. Or a little later, about 66 or 67, the homosexual homophile youth movement in the neighborhoods, HIM.
I didn't know about that.
That was run by the guy, and Randy was involved some with that.
Yes.
It was run by the guy who started the Oscar Wilde bookstore.
Oh, I know who that was. I
know his name by heart, but I can't think of it.
I always talk to him all the time. Him and Randy are still real good friends. His name is what? Oh, I got it on the tip of my tongue. Craig Rockwell.
Yeah. How early did you know him?
Craig Rockwell, I know him from the movement. Oh, he used to hate me. He used to be a very hard worker in GAA as far as I think he was in GAA when he was working. And he is a very hard worker. And I used to always come and disrupt meetings every now and then. But he just sit there and listen. But he's been very nice to me lately. He's the manager of the bookstore now.
Yeah.
Him and Randy go way back together. They're just about the same age. Randy
they were
still does a lot of
those
writing.
two were the first gay radicals in New York.
Uh-huh.
Not radical in the same way that the term is used now, but...
But I haven't been too radical. I have a gay love banner. And someday I'd like to have the gay love banner announced in a parade, if I live long enough. And have it, put on the list for marches for the parade. But I've never listed the gay love banner in any parade in New York. I just marched in there a couple of times. But I'd like someday to have a charter and everything, because you know what gay love means, don't you? It's a button. It means happy sharing. And I think if there was more happy sharing in the gay movement instead of selfishness, my dear, we'd be a lot further than we are today. I mean, when people start sharing from the heart and giving from the heart, it would make it a better movement than any straight movement and a stronger movement than any straight movement could ever be. Like it would be nice if you come to some place like Washington or some demonstration, if they just can get some free cookies and coffee or something. Just so that people don't have to pay for everything along the way.
Oh, some people arranged to do that in San Francisco the first time their parade got real big. And they had a food committee that was going to have all free food. They bought enough for 200 people. And that was the first time that about 100,000 showed up. And it was just ridiculous. They had done a big advertising. They had all this free food out in the park. 20 or 30 jars of apple juice and 60 or 70 packages of cookies.
Well, at least they tried to feed some of the people.
They couldn't do like Jesus did and stretch it out, make it enough to feed.
Well, everybody brings something you could stretch it out. Like I tried to be very nice to people from other states when I came to Washington because I was very fierce. I had all these feathers in my hair that I had on the cover for Earth, Wind and Fire, and I met these people from Tennessee that wanted to take photos and some from Texas. And so I took photos with these people, even though I wasn't with anybody particularly in the March in Washington.
Now, one of the guys who used to be on our board interviewed a whole bunch of the people from Tennessee. You might be in his videotape because I think I remember seeing that.
Well, that was before the walk started.
Yeah. Yeah, he was interviewing the people from Tennessee before the march started. And I think I remember seeing someone prancing around with a lot of feathers.
I just figured I'd be different in Washington this year. I just had to go. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning when we had to get down there. But my dear, my friend that passed away of AIDS, I promised him that if anything happened to him, I would be in Washington on 11th in his place. So I did get there. I just threw on these little Hawaiian shorts and everything, and it's pants right through. But being a small town person from Elizabeth, New Jersey, I've come and, you know, I've learned a lot in the gay movement. Like they gave a great big Christmas party at the Gay Center, and they've been giving me clothes to wear and everything here. And they've been telling me places where I can go get food. They've really been helping me out. And like in New York at the center, sometimes they give me information and stuff. But you know, it's very hard to work for free in the gay community. And I applied for 2 jobs here in California at the center, and I never even got called in. I mean, you know, and I've been going to the center every day, every week for employment house cleaning here, and I haven't gotten 1 job yet. So it's very hard, you know, especially living on Social Security with a bullet in your back, and you don't even get your Social Security check on time.
Oh, mine always come on time.
I had to apply for a second Social Security check since I've been here. Well, that's because I had the wrong zip code on my first check. I mean, but you know, in a place like California, or any place where you live, and you don't have the right zip code or anything on your mail, it just takes much longer to get there, and you just have to try and struggle and do the best you can until it does. And I think that Ed Murphy and those people that work with Ed Murphy, and even though they try to call them mafia, I think the mafia has done more for the gay movement than anybody I can think of, you know. I think the mafia is the one that made the gay movement, and I think the mafia is the one that keeps the gay movement motivated as far as finances go and everything. And I can't see how anybody ever puts the mafia down as far as the gay movement goes, because they're the ones that put out tons of dollars to open gay bars and stuff like that, and put their lives on the line when people try and cause trouble at gay bars. I mean, what are people saying when they say mafia? My dear, a lot of people say mafia because they don't like these people to stand up at the front door and screen you for ID and everything like that. But if they didn't, a undercover cop can come in here anytime they want and just close the place down.
What's Ed Murphy like? He was the bartender or the manager of the Stonewall at the time of the riot?
He was like a manager. But I wasn't there when Murphy was there. There were other people there when Murphy was there. I was there when Murphy was manager of 10th of Always. And he was a very, very nice person then. He's a very, very nice person now. I mean, he was so good to transvestites, it was to be believed. I mean, he's always been, one time I went to, 3 times I went to Ed Murphy for help in the gay movement, and each time I got it. I went there for $100 once because I needed it to help send a friend back to bring a friend in from Baltimore because his friend was sick. He was like, he had like a stomach infection. He had to have his appendix taken out. And then there was a person named Bambi who was a transvestite from the 82 Club that died in New York. We had to have her cremated. I went to Ed Murphy and his committee and I asked for $250 and I didn't even have to pay it back, and we had him cremated in the ashes, thrown on Christopher Street. We all went there and threw the ashes. They're still there, all the way Christopher Street, all the way to the water. And they like film that, you know. I mean, and he always helps out at Christmas time with the children and everything. And ever since he decided to join the parade, he's there every year for the parade, and he's not a very well person. He's always going in and out of hospital. Like last year, he gave me $20, which I hope to pay back sometime, because I needed it for the parade, because I didn't have any money on parade day. I mean, he helps out tons of mentally retarded children all year long. And people say a lot of things bad about Ed Murphy, but I personally know the good things that he does to help hundreds and hundreds of people all the time. He runs around, he talks to people, he listens to their problems, and he tries to help them the best he can, you know. And I mean, for one individual, he's got a lot of awards to prove for the credits that he's done a lot of work for people. And you never hear anybody at the mental retarded center say anything bad about him. They always say all the good things and give him all the credit for what he's done to help so many wonderful children to live a longer life than they were living, you know, before Murphy came along, you know. And that's the one-to-one program and the people that work with him. I mean, a lot of times in gay movement, they don't give you any good credits while you're here. I hardly don't ever get any good credits. I mean, about the only good credits I got in the gay movement was the ones when Alan Young wrote that book. I mean, a lot of people used to say a lot of bad things about me.
Like what?
Like I was a hooker and I worked on the streets. They used to say, oh, she's just a hooker and she works on... They don't know. I was never just a hooker working on the streets. I was a hooker working in the gay movement. I mean, I've been at all the demonstrations. Whenever I'm in jail as a hooker, I've been bailed out of jail by the gay movement on Gay Pride Day. Because, my dear, I've only been a hooker because that was the only thing I could think to do at a time, you know, when I was on hormones and stuff like that. But I've been a go-go dancer.
How long will the schooling take now?
Oh, well, at 42 years old, I'm telling you, this is going to take me a year to go to school. But I'll be able to help poor people with their hair. If I find somebody that
Can you help me with my hair?
Yes.
Nothing can be done with that.
Oh, yes. They know how to, let me tell you, I bet you they do. They know how to weave a wig on that it looks like your own hair and everything. Sure it does. I got a grant for $5,000 to do this just by going into ask. I mean, I went there because I'm planning to wear a lot of makeup when I go to school, so I just started wearing it now. I mean, I hope to dye my hair blonde next week or something. I mean, I want a new intrigue for Hollywood. I've been 86 from 2 gay bars already since I've been here, to Gold Coast and another one.
Oh, how come?
I don't know. Like in New York, I'm 86 from all these bars, and I don't even know why. They just say you can't come in. But this always happens to me, Jim. All the time. I'm so used to it as to be believed. I could go into a straight bar, I can get a drink anytime I want, sit down.
Think it's because you're not butch enough or racial?
I don't really know. I don't really care about it, you know. I mean, when I first came to Hollywood, I went to the Hollywood bar, and they said, you have no identification, you can't get in here. And then I have identification. And, you know, they just say I can't get in, I just paid no attention. Gay places are not very important for me to go to. Especially bars, but I just like to go in and peek around and have a beer or something. If they're very nice to me, I'll go back and spend money, but if they're not, I just don't even waste my time because I'm really not a bar person. And I've come a long way as far as growing up. Like, if people say I'm a druggie, I don't even care. If I feel like dibbing-dabbing into drugs, I just go on and do it. You only got one life to live, Jim. You don't live it to please other people. You got to live your life to please you, no matter what it is. If you're here for a day, because tomorrow is not promised to anybody. And I just live my life from day to day since Paul got my back.
How'd that happen?
I was out with a taxi cab driver, and I got paid $20 to get fucked. I finished the job. I walked down the street, and he calls me back. I see the gun, I run, and he fires. And I didn't do anything to him. He just left me out in the middle of the street. I mean, but you know, you just never know when you're going nowadays. And I mean, I plan to continue to work with those people in ACT UP when I have a chance, but I'm just in California for a while trying to get myself more together as far as finances and stuff go, because I only get $372 in New York, and I don't know how I'd ever make it in New York without Randy Wicker. I mean, Randy's been such a help for me for so many years in New York, like 3 or 4 years he's been helping me budget money and everything, otherwise I wouldn't even survive. I mean, but I got to go back to New York, even if I'm going to school for Gay Day for the parade this year. So I'm going to be in school.
We have our parade here the same day as the New York one.
So what I'll just take a week out of school and I'll just go.
Well, you could go to the one here.
No, it's not like...
It's different. It's very different. I'm not sure you'd like it as much.
Oh, I like it. But, you know, a lot of people are going to be wondering where I am all winter. So I'll just take out from school and I'll go to the parade.
Going home for the holidays.
Yes. I wanted to take out of school and go home for Randy's birthday, but I'm just going to be starting.
When is his birthday?
February the 3rd. I'm just going to
Do you know
send him
how
a
old
present.
he is now?
Randy's going to be 50. And I know he's going to be quite, that's how come I called him.
He was born 1936 or?
Yes. About 1936 is right.
38, no, 38. If he'd be, will he be 50 this time?
Yes.
Okay, it'd be 38, yeah. Okay, anything else you can think of?
I like to do more work for transvestites. I like to help more transvestites than I've been helping.
Well, now that so many of us have gotten respectable, we're kind of forgetting about...
I like to help those homeless people. I like to open up a house where people
Well, they're
can
only
come.
homeless because they want to be, aren't they?
No, a lot of homeless people aren't homeless because they want to be. A lot of people don't understand homeless people. Homeless people are usually people that are uneducated. They never finished high school, that are runaways, that are molested as children, victims of child abuse. I mean, and these people grow up and they don't know what to do with their lives. And they wind up on drugs, and they wind up on Santa Monica Boulevard or any other boulevard, the West Side Highway. I mean, they wind up dead or something from depression. These are like young people that if you can grasp them and give them food and a place to stay and finance to, you know, send them to a school where they can learn how to read and write, some of them can make something out of themselves. But hardly anybody ever does that. I mean, you can't, like this person, I know that died of AIDS, I grabbed him at 14 years old. And I held on to him and I tried to help him in any way I can, like buying him food and giving him a place to stay and stuff. And he managed to make it to at least 24 years old. But if I would have left him out there, heaven knows he might have died earlier than that. I mean, when I have an apartment, I just open it up to all these people. And I don't care if I'm ripped off for a stereo or something like that. These are worldly things. I came here with nothing, I'm leaving with nothing. I just let them take it. I mean, if that's going to help me have a couple extra dollars in
I've got to take all this stuff with me when I go.
Huh? I ain't taking anything. I've not just only helped these people in the past. I plan to help them in the future. But I take rests, and this is my rest in California where I'm going to school.
You plan to go back to New York then?
I plan to go back to New York, yes. New York is, it's me for 23 years. I know so many people there.
Can you get the other one over there? Just pick it up, yeah. Go ahead.
And I don't know how I could ever thank those hundreds of people that helped me in New York. They're the ones that helped me survive 42
Pass it on to
years
someone
there.
else.
I mean, so many people in the stores on Christopher Street and stuff have been giving me clothes, and they give me change every day. I mean, I have this friend named Rob that works at Raoul's restaurant, and Randy that gives me money all the time. 'Cause, you know, I haven't been hustling in a while. I just decided, my dear, I've given these men enough. I'm going on vacation. I mean, AIDS is out there, honey. I don't want the AIDS. I don't want to have sex with hardly anybody. And it isn't because I have paranoia fever. It's because I say if I got to go, I might as well get somebody gorgeous.
Okay, let's call it with that, unless there's something else you want to add.
Well, I think something that I would like to add is like, we've come a long way in gay movement, but we got a long way to go. And I think that all of us gay brothers and sisters should just try to keep on doing our best to hold each other's hand and keep on going right through the AIDS virus and everything to the other side of the rainbow. I think that's about it.
Okay, and thanks very much. Okay.
Oh, you're welcome.